Welcome back, everyone, and get ready for another new episode of the New Motorcycle Riders Podcast, where we dive deep into all things motorcycle related. We have a very informative topic today, but before we start, hit that subscribe and notification button to stay on top of our latest podcast topics and discussions. We upload new podcasts weekly, and it doesn't cost you anything to join in. Plus, it really helps us to reach out to help more motorcyclists. Also, if you have a motorcycle-related topic you would like to hear discussed on our podcast, please send me a message to andrew@newmotorcycleriders.com, and let's make that happen. Again, thank you for joining us on our podcast, and please leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to check out our new book, New Motorcycle Riders, Motorcycling for Beginners. It's available at Amazon and major bookstores. So today, let's talk about hand signals and should you use them when you ride. Hand signals can be great for letting others know your intentions and of hazards up ahead, but should you use them? Many groups use hand signals to notify others in their group of their intentions or hazards, but is it useful for the general public? We all know drivers have 100 things on their mind that could be distracting them. Do you really want to trust them to see you giving hand signals? I was involved in an accident some years ago when a motorist ran the red light at an intersection and T-boned me. Luckily, I walked away uninjured, but the same couldn't be said for my motorcycle, which suffered major damage. I wasn't at fault in that accident, but knowing what I know now, I could have prevented it. I talked about that in another one of my podcasts. After the motorist got out of his vehicle, he was exceptionally apologetic. He stated that his son was in the hospital and he had just left there. He said he turned around to check on his son in the backseat of his car, and that's what distracted him. He expected me to be irate, but I wasn't. See, in my mind, I was safe and unharmed. Motorcycles can be repaired or replaced. Now, let's get back to the beginning and why hand signals were created in the first place. Hand signals were used on motorcycles and cars in the early years because there were no turn signals on them. Start putting a bunch of vehicles on the road with no one knowing the other's intentions, and you're only asking for trouble. So it's understandable why a method of communicating was necessary to prevent accidents and injury. During those times, it was acceptable and necessary to use and know what hand signals meant when you were operating a vehicle. Now spin the clock forward a few decades, and vehicles started to utilize turn signals as standard equipment. This will mean less people were using hand signals and relying more on the vehicle's turn signals to indicate their intentions or the intentions of others. As time went on, the younger generation of car drivers had no idea what hand signals were because they had become obsolete and were primarily used in the motorcycling community. For what it's worth, a lot of motorcycle riders don't even know hand signals. So you see, using hand signals today will probably get you a weird look from most motorists who have no idea what you're doing. So for your safety, I would stick to using the turn signals that are equipped on your motorcycle to indicate your intentions, and leave the hand signals for group riding with other motorcyclists who understand what you're doing. This is 2023. Unless you're riding a 1923 Indian Scout, then proceed with your hand signals at your own risk. Well, that's going to do it for today's podcast, folks. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. Please leave a comment below about the episode or anything you thought I may have missed. Maybe there's something more you'd like to add to this. Also, contact me at andrew@newmotorcycleriders.com if there is something in particular you would like to hear discussed on our podcast. Maybe you'd like to be a guest host on our podcast. Let us know. As always, be safe and enjoy your ride.